George, Mike said you were okay with the load management, not being out there as much. Is that in fact true?
Oh, yeah, that's what he just asked me. It's just part of the game plan.
How do you manage frustrations just throughout the course of the season? And, maybe if you're not as involved as you want to be, how do you kind of mentally stay in the game?
You just keep working.
Just keep working, Dorin. You just got to keep working. He was a little more expansive at the beginning of the 3 minutes and 15 seconds that he spoke yesterday, but was increasingly annoyed with every passing question, and he would not be the first player to be annoyed by the media. In fact, every player who has ever played any sport at the professional level, I'm sure, has been annoyed by the media at one point or another. Fans don't know George Pickens. I don't know George Pickens. Nobody but the people within that locker room really know how this guy ticks. And so my advice to George would be, I know you don't want to be there. I know you're frustrated. Frustrated. Put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. I know this is tough. You want the ball. You want to win. Offense hasn't been great. That's all real. Go out there for 5-10 minutes, answer questions, put a smiling face on, and these things go away faster. They just do. I'm not saying that media members who are there have axes to grind or anything like that. But the number of Steelers fans that I saw share that video of Pickens speaking yesterday on social media, he did not come off well. That is reality. He did not come off well. And I would just tell George, help you help yourself. Tomlin didn't help himself. Probably didn't help Pickens on Tuesday. This whole situation is not good. It's getting worse by the way they've handled it. IMO, Dorin.
The way that you help yourself in having to answer questions and having to answer to things is by doing the right thing. Going out there and playing. Like these questions wouldn't come up if you just gave 100% on every rep.
Yes, that's true.
Even if your rep count was down and there was load management and, you weren't out there on certain plays, like people may question it, be like, oh, what's going on here? But if your effort was 100% whenever you were in there on tape, the questions wouldn't be like this and you wouldn't have a problem of answering questions.
Yeah.
So the way to control is to control what you can control. The way to not get upset and the way to have to answer things is to control your effort whenever you're out there, which should be an automatic at that level. We talked about it yesterday, and I thought we had a really good discussion to start the show about George Pickens. And I do wonder in situations like this, like how much help is he actually getting from the people that can help him too? Like, he is a young guy. He's immature. He has a lot of growing up to do. And your job as a franchise and as a business and as a coaching staff is to identify that, which you have whenever you drafted him, and you knew that this would be a situation because of that's why he slipped in the draft. But are you helping him help himself? And it seems like yesterday, like he was on an island by himself.
That's how I felt too, man.
And I'm like maybe he was prepped to give one-word answers, maybe, but they can help him a little bit more of avoiding some of the distractions like yesterday. Like that'll become a distraction.
Yes.
That's the things he thinks about. That's why he gets upset, is because he has to answer things of his performance and things of that nature. Like, are they giving him the right help to do some of these things to kind of avoid and kind of dance around some of these situations? That's my question right now, because he's not going to figure it out. It's clear. He's just too immature. And if you're willing to invest in him, give him as much help as possible. Maybe they are, but it just doesn't seem like it.
Maybe he's on an island because he's rubbed his teammates wrong so much already. What I would say to my own hypothesis there is, last season he had the whole Jaylen Warren not blocking for him thing against Indianapolis. Next week he goes out. I think it was the first play from scrimmage. He catches a touchdown. 4 catches, 195 yards. And it was like, oh, okay. And then he wasn't a problem the rest of the way. So we've seen him go from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs from one week to the next. Heck, he had over 100 yards against Indianapolis this year. And then that was really the high point of the season for him, although he did fumble maybe the game away. And he comes back. It doesn't take much. And then he's moping and he's upset again. This guy is a roller coaster. And I think Justin Fields is super even. I'm not sure that that's what he needs out of his quarterback. He might need the guy that's going to help prop him up when things aren't going right.
Mm-hmm.
He might need the Russell Wilson. Now, just because Russell Wilson's been in the QB3 doesn't mean that Russ can't take him under his wing. Doesn't mean that Russ can't provide some leadership. But if and when the Steelers do wind up going with Russell Wilson, I wonder if it will help George Pickens.
And Russell Wilson did speak on that yesterday. And what he said is exactly what you would think a veteran quarterback would say.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the quotes were just, it was pretty good. And you're right in a sense, but he has to want to help himself too. And for me, like personally, like I don't know really any real details about the whole situation. Like for real, like I don't know anything. But my guess is something happened during last week, and Arthur Smith was like, "You're not bigger than the offense. We're going to alter the offense for this week, and we're going to trust the guys that want to be and give full effort, and we're going to, say it's load management, but we're going to take reps away from you." And that just bothered him all week, and he knew that he wasn't going to be a huge part of the game plan, and that's why you saw him mope.
I am coming around on that myself, Dorin. Arthur Smith talked about the whole load management thing yesterday, and we've talked about this on the show. Week 1, don't throw it in the middle of the field, avoid the safeties. They've been week-to-week opponent-specific with their game plans. And I am actually starting to come around on, I don't think it was ever actually a quote-unquote load management thing, but they wanted to get big and run it down Dallas's throat, and they feel like the best way to do that is to take George Pickens off the field.
Yes.
I think it's idiotic when you have Van Jefferson and Scotty Miller and Calvin Austin to ever take George Pickens off the field unless he can't breathe, right? I think he always needs to be out there. But I do think they don't view it that way. And the game plan was, we're going to run it. Your snap count is going to decrease because of that. You're not getting benched. And when he found out he wasn't going to be as involved in the game plan, he decided to shut down.
Yep.
Yes, that's what happened, I think, and it sounds like you think.
Yeah.
It didn't go the way that I initially thought, which was he was showing poor effort, and so they benched him. Because his snaps waned. He wasn't playing a lot of snaps throughout the game. It wasn't just like he was playing, he's not playing. Okay, now we're losing. Now you got to play. It was he just wasn't out there a ton. I think it was game plan specific, and then he was going at 70% because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that can't happen. Twofold, it can't happen. I think it's bad idea by them not to just have him out there all the time because they're trying to run the football. Having him as a threat, even as a decoy, I would think is going to help you run the football. You got to put a guy over the top on him. And then it just can't have this response.
Yeah.
They can be wrong, and your response as a professional still needs to be better than it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a big question here. I mean, is this a guy you can win with? Because I didn't think you could win with Deontay Johnson. That's what I said when they traded him. A guy who doesn't put forth the effort, a guy who seems to come up small in big moments. We're seeing a lot of the same things here with George Pickens.
I mean, you got a guy that is not a huge part of the game plan, and then whenever he is in the game and he's asked to block or asked to be on the backside of routes going 50%, I think the answer's right there. No, you can't win with a guy like that. Like, if you know a game plan is specific to winning and you believe in it and you have to believe in it, like, you're going to do whatever it takes because it's like, all right, this is our method to win. Like, so he doesn't care about winning. He cares more about getting his stats and catching the football. No, you can't win with guys like that. No.
I have said I don't think he's going to get traded before the deadline, though I'm starting to think it's more and more possible with each passing day. I don't think he's going to be a Steeler next year. But the reason I think he might be here beyond the deadline is because I don't think he's a bad guy.
No.
I think he is an immature guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they want to see if they can grow him up. And, hey, if you're having those conversations, not a guy growing up, but can we grow him up? That might be your answer already. I think they want to take as long as they can to see if he can work through this stuff. I don't know if it's going to work or not. I don't know how you could pay this kind of guy $25 million, $30 million bucks. but I think they want to at least see if he can grow up.
Mm-hmm.
He is young. People are blowing up the text line. I don't want to hear 24-year-old immature. What were you doing? What were you doing at 24?
I agree. I don't want to hear it either. Like, I mean, all of us in the NFL were 22, 23 at one point. And not many of us, really acted this way. And if you did, that you weren't be there. Like, so I agree. Like, I don't want to hear it either. Like, it shouldn't be like it. Like, he shouldn't be immature, but he is.
He's 1 year younger than me if you think about it and think about how I act on a daily basis.
Yeah, you're very immature.
You sure are. You got a lot of growing up to do, but you've made strides. I'm not excusing his behavior by way of calling him immature. I also think it's unacceptable, but I think they view him as, if they could view him either one of two ways, immature or bad guy, I think they view him more immature than he's a bad dude and he's irreconcilable. That's not even close to a word. You understand what I'm saying, maybe. I don't think they think he's a lost cause.
No.
Is what I'm trying to say.